Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I wanted to remind you of our Road to 1,000 subscribers giveaway that we have going on our YouTube channel. If you subscribe and have a public profile, you'll be entered to win a free RX Smart Gear original jump rope. You'll get to pick the pattern of the handles, the color and weight of the cable, and you'll be getting one of the best-selling, best-performing jump ropes out there. Every time we hit a new century mark with the number of subscribers to our channel, we'll randomly select a new winner. And our friend Dave Newman is going to throw in a little something extra for each winner. So a special thanks to our sponsor, RX Smart Gear, to Dave Newman for being such a great partner, and to you for being a loyal listener. Good luck, and I hope you are our next winner.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk to you about our new sponsor, Element 26. They are an innovative company producing lots of products around the CrossFit, strongman, powerlifting space. They have weightlifting belts, they have knee sleeves, they have thumb tape. They have these cool little straps that go around the bars when you're trying to attach a bar to the rig and maybe using it for low bar work, like pull-ups for little kids, or some modifications for like bar muscle ups when you're trying to teach someone to do them. And you know how you wrap those rubber bands around the rig and the J hook to kind of keep everything straight? Well, they've made straps for that. And they're straps kind of like the straps you use for rings. They have a really secure system on it, and you can wrap around the bar and keep that nice and secure. I love their innovation. Their product development team is top notch, and they're just coming up with really different ideas for our space. So check them out at element26.co. That's element26.co, and tell them Kat sent you.
Worked out pretty good for us.
Well, if people don't know, we are sitting here talking with CrossFit legend, and that was defined by Rogue, Tommy Hackenbruck. He took second place at the 2009 CrossFit Games as an individual. He won the affiliate cup twice with his affiliate himself. And we're just going to talk to him and get to know him a little bit better. I got to meet Tommy at Rogue, where he told some great stories. So we're going to try to document those a little bit better and get them out here for you guys. So Tommy, how you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Glad you had me on. It's been a long time. I was wondering if I wasn't considered a Clydesdale at a certain point. I was starting to worry a little bit.
Well, you're the original Clydesdale. And so, once we have you on, then it's nothing but downhill from here.
Yeah, no, I think maybe you get John Wellborn on there. If I remember correctly, there's I think the last year you didn't have to actually qualify. Nothing against John. But yeah, from the earliest CrossFit days, I remember seeing him pop up in some videos. And I'm not going to lie, that was a little bit inspiring to me. This guy's like a former NFL offensive lineman. I was like, shoot, I must be a great build for this sport, if this guy's doing it.
Well, I kind of want to talk about that because that's something we talked about a little bit at Rogue is body type. That I'm a Clydesdale, you're a Clydesdale, in kind of different ways. But coming up, your body type wasn't right in a different way for the sport you were playing before CrossFit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was the worst. I think, I don't know, maybe I had a little bit of a kind of the athlete body dysmorphia, where you're never going to be happy no matter what. But I really thought I was undersized to play, especially play middle linebacker in college. I naturally, I think I walk around like 205. I was 205 before college. Almost immediately after I stopped just eating like a madman. I think most people don't understand this and won't be able to appreciate it unless you've done it. But like when you're trying to gain weight and you're having a hard time, it's torturous. I mean, I think it's probably the equivalent of trying to lose weight, and the scale won't budge. But eating was a job. I never looked forward to it. I hated eating, and I just had to get as many calories as I could. But yeah, I played middle linebacker about 225 pounds. And I think it's more like a 240, 250, type position, especially the guys going on the NFL. So I was definitely undersized. And I just thought I was ironic my whole life. I was like, I wish I was, a couple inches taller. And then I finally find a sport that that's pretty good for me. And I'm like, oh crap, I wish I was a couple inches shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. So you played at Utah under Urban Meyer. Charlie and I here sit in Columbus, Ohio, where Urban Meyer walks on water. So what was that experience like? Even though I do have to say, Charlie and I are not Ohio State fans, but Urban does walk on water here.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know how you guys get away with letting that out of the bag. Being Ohio, you must walk around with your head down in shame most of the time. It was amazing. He's he's been in some hot water, I guess, in the just recent months. So I don't know if that's an issue, but I have nothing but good things to say about him. He came to Utah after my third year, and I was only there for the 2 years. He was only there for the last 2 years, and then he left of my career. But just like any great coach that anybody has played for in a sport, they really leave a lasting impact on you. And I took a lot of great things away from not just him, but the culture he created. We had a lot of really good coaches on that staff, but being able to be a part of a real transformational change in the culture was, I think that was so valuable. I'm sure guys who play at Alabama or, who came through Ohio State have similar experiences playing for great coaches, but they're walking into an incredible culture. They didn't see it before. And it wasn't like horrible. And maybe that was the biggest impact is that we had a pretty good thing going to Utah. We had good teams, we're competing for the conference championship, but just to see what a few little changes in the way you do things, just the way you carry yourself, the way you compete in the weight room. We all thought we were working hard in practice. I thought I was working my tail off in everything I did. And there was a very significant, but small kind of subtle difference to what we were doing, those next 2 years under Coach Meyer. So I'd say the intensity was kind of ratcheted up, and to be able to see the impact that had on our mindset and the way we showed up. None of us became better athletes overnight. None of us were any bigger, faster, stronger than we were the season before. But just kind of paying attention to all the little details and I think having a little more of a sense of purpose in every moment, trying to get the most you can out of every rep, every drill, every film session. It's really, something that I strive for and fall short all the time, but it's something I can strive for in all aspects of life. It's, it's just kind of like kicking ass at a high level. If you can apply that to, your workplace or your family life, it's really, it was fun and it had a huge impact on me. And I hope that I've been able to pass some of those lessons along, to other people along the way, because I've been coaching CrossFit for over a decade now, and just really love it. That's probably my favorite part of the sport is just being in the gym coaching people.
And did Urban play a big part in that? Did he play a big part in you wanting to do that with your career? Or did you already have that desire and it just gave you some of the tools?
I think I've always wanted to coach in some way, shape, or form. I come from kind of a long line of coaches. My mom's dad coached basketball for like 50 plus years in Oregon. My dad was my high school football coach. So it's always been something I've liked. When I was like a high school kid, I loved working with little kids, working with flag. I've just always really kind of gravitated towards that. I've always enjoyed coaching the camp. So I don't think I didn't really look up to Coach Meyer. Like, honestly, I've never wanted to be a college football coach. I've never looked at any one of my college football coaches and been like, oh, I want to follow in their footsteps. Yeah. So I wouldn't say he necessarily got me into coaching, but he showed me what's possible, if you, and I think, I also have gotten to see kind of the downside of that too. We've seen Coach Meyer unravel a little bit when he was at Florida. I think he's such an intense person. So that's something I've kind of paid attention to as well. I came out of college just, with a fire under my ass. Like I wanted to take on the world. And, I have kind of workaholic tendencies and I've had to realize that kind of balance can be important. It's, you can also, I think, succeed at a high level and have some semblance of balance. I don't think you'll ever be perfectly balanced, but I definitely, tried to take all the positives and I tried to pay attention to kind of the warning signs too. I don't want to run myself into the ground. I don't want to put my family through, the stress of like what those college coaches go through, that just operate at that high intensity all the time. So I try and remember what that feels like, but also kind of live in a little bit of a level state.
Okay. Well, my last question about Utah is, did you played with Alex Smith then?
Yes.
What he's gone through in his career, and especially lately when he had that horrific injury and probably the greatest comeback story I've ever seen in sports and what he's gone through. Did you see that in him when you were playing with him at Utah?
Yeah, I was surprised at the level and the scale of that injury. I was shocked at the toughness that he showed. I knew he was tough. He had a bulged disc. Actually, so the first year with Meyer, my junior year, I was pretty close with Alex. He was he's a quarterback. My roommate, one of my childhood's friends, was a quarterback at Utah, and we'd hang out outside of football quite a bit. So Alex had a bulged disc, and it kind of limited him in the fall and the spring. So my buddy Brett actually won the starting job at the year before the Heisman thing. So Alex was his backup, and then on the third game, Brett broke his thumb, and Alex got the starting job and never lost it. But so I'd seen him, deal with injuries, come back from them, keep a positive attitude. He's a type of person. If I had to compare him to anyone CrossFit, I see a lot of this in Rich Froning. He's just grinds. I mean, Alex was always in the film room. He just did everything right. Really, really hard worker. Keeps a pretty level head. Doesn't get. I'd say Rich is probably a little more fiery than Alex was. But just kind of that calm demeanor, and he doesn't get rattled, and he just keeps working his ass off. So, to see him do well and see him come back from that was amazing. I've been, rooting for him every step of the way in the NFL, and that's a tough place to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, just knowing how good everybody is at that level, it's crazy to, there's very few guys who make it out of that meat grinder after 10 years and have a career like he had. So even though he's probably not going to ever be remembered as like one of the greats or, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he was a really good NFL quarterback for a lot of years. And, that in and of itself, I think is impressive.
Yeah. Mr. Consistent too, especially over the last 7 years, probably of his career. So let's move into some other things. You told me another story and then we'll get into some other stuff. 2009, you moved to Salt Lake to open an affiliate.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, you decide you want to travel to the CrossFit Games, but you don't have a ride.
Yeah. I kind of got interested in the games and found a way to qualify, but I didn't really put a plan in place on how I was going to get out there. So my family had, just moved back to Salt Lake. We after college went to Oregon for 3 years, and I had a almost 1-year-old, and child number 2 was on the way. So, it definitely wasn't going to be like a family trip. And we had just kind of taken all of our savings and and all that, and dumped it into just a tiny startup CrossFit gym. So yeah, so I was like, oh crap. It was like the week before the games. And I was like, oh, I really don't want to buy a plane ticket. Like, I don't, get a rental car and all that. It seems expensive. So I called Miranda Oldroyd at the time. Now I think her last name is Alcaraz. But so I called her. She owned CrossFit 801 in town. I was afraid to call Chris Spieler because I think he and Miranda were both at my level 1 teaching. Chris is up the road in Park City. I don't know if I was intimidated because there's like a lot of hype, about him. He was like one of these legends going the CrossFit game. Not a legend, but like one of these, favorites. So I think I didn't want to call him because I saw him as like a competitor, and that would be like super awkward. But I randomly called Miranda and just asked if anyone from her gym was going to the CrossFit games, if I could bum a ride and, chip in for gas. So ended up getting introduced to a few people and rode up there with them. And, it was awesome because one of them was, Heber Cannon, who he and his wife, fiance at the time, Jenna, were in that car. And Ben Hollingshouse was in that car, and he was in some of the early CrossFit videos, kind of a funny character, but it was just a nice group of people. And we rode up there. They didn't know I was competing. I didn't I guess I just didn't mention it. It never really came up. So, and I sleep pretty good on the floor. In college, there was a week where it was like 110 degrees, every night, and our AC was broken. So I started sleeping on the floor and basically like just kind of trained myself to. And so anyway, we get to California, and like I didn't have a ride. I also didn't have a hotel room. So I was like, oh, can I crash in your room? So I slept on the floor that first night, and then went out the next day and competed. And, he finished day 1 and I was in first place. And these guys go back to the hotel room. These guys are like, hey man, we didn't even know you're competing. Do you want the bed tonight? And, it was kind of funny, and I probably should have turned it down and slept on the floor because I lost the damn thing the next day. But so they let me sleep in the bed, and we had a good time. And Heber made like just kind of a funny little 2-minute video. This is what he does. He's just super creative and puts these things together. And I think he's got a lot of courage too. He's put himself out there and take a lot of risks. So he puts together this video, and I think just sent it to Tony Budding, uninvited, unsolicited, just said, hey, this is the kind of work I do, and are you interested? And then a few weeks later, all of a sudden he's making videos for CrossFit, and then he moves out to Santa Cruz a year later, and he's put together some incredible media over the last 10 years, really flourished. So he kind of helped me get my start and helped him get his own start, all in one weekend. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So 2009, you finished second at the games, all because you slept in a bed and you should have finished first.
No, it just happened that Miko Salo is a really fit dude. And he was doing a lot of things that no one else was doing at that time. So I think I've always said this, he absolutely deserved to win that year. It would have been a shame if he didn't.
So it's funny, you mentioned Miko, you mentioned Chris Spieler in your story. We were just at Rogue with this Legends competition, and they were there. And what is it like for you to go back and get to hang out with these guys again that you haven't really competed with in years? It's
great. Someone brought this up over that week. I thought it was really interesting. I'm a huge fan of where the sport is going. I love that athletes are making money. I think those of us who were around earlier, I think we were really blessed in a different way. It was never about the money, and we were just out there having fun. So there's always been a lot of camaraderie, and I still see that, but it's a little different. And it makes sense. You watch these athletes, what's going through their head is just so much different. Their job's on the line. They're out there to make a paycheck. A lot of who and what they are is riding on their performance, and the amount of training they put in for that is, light years beyond the hours we were putting in 10 years ago. So I like where it's going, but I really feel like we were fortunate. This, the group that the collectively, hundreds of and maybe thousands of athletes who compete at regionals and competed in the open and at the earlier CrossFit games, up through, I don't know, 2015 or so. No one was doing it as their business. They were doing it as their hobby. And so it's really fun to see all those guys, quote unquote legends, and girls, like a lot of those gals, and guys we've competed on different throwdowns together. We've gone on trips together. Reebok at one time was damn near sponsoring everybody. So, we had some fun weekends down the Bahamas and some of the cool experiences that they allowed us to do. So that was, I think that's the coolest thing about that group is we're truly friends. And even when we were competing against each other, we were friends. Sometimes the competitive aspect of it gets in the way. You're not, it's a little different tension the week of the CrossFit games. It's like, yeah, you're my friend, but also like I kind of, I'm not going to just bro out with you right now. But there's just a lot of, good vibes there and just people who really wanted the best for each and every one of them. It was a different mindset going into competition, really wanting everybody to do well, versus, kind of having this killer instinct of just wanting to bury your opponents, which I've heard, kind of Matt Fraser talks like that a lot, and that worked great for him. And I respect the hell out of him for that. I never had that mentality. Maybe I should have, but it was a little different culture, I think, in the beginning.
So you say that, but so 12 and 13, you win the affiliate cup. 15 comes, 12 and 13, I said, right? 15 comes along and Jason and Rich say, hey, we're going to go team and we're going to try to win. And that year you kind of said, hey, wait a minute, this is my territory. And you tried to like plant a flag, and it made a spotlight kind of move to the team division the whole way through the season. Like we were watching the Open to see how you all three teams did, because by kind of planting that flag that this team thing is my thing, and you bring on two of the greatest individual athletes in the sport, and it made the team have a really big spotlight. What was that year like for you?
15 was a really weird year. It was fun to see the team competition take that turn. I know our teams, the prior ones, we're really, we're really trying to push it and push the limits. We wanted, to be thought of as, individual competitor athletes type of thing. Like we tried to go out in the off season and show that each and every one of us was pretty legit. And, that was always my goal was, hey, all six of us were training if we're individuals. Like I want each and every one of us to be able to qualify. We weren't quite there, but that was kind of the goal. It's like, hey, let's not set the bar. Let's not try and like be a really good team. Like screw that. Let's try and be the best six individuals in our region, games level athletes. And then it'll be a breeze. That was kind of the thought process. And then eventually it got there, it's just happened a little bit after our time. But I liked seeing it take that turn. It really was a weird year. It was a year that people decided like, okay, more of us are going to take this team thing seriously. But it was rushed, I would say. Rich's team had some big holes in it. Jason's NorCal team should have just ran away with that. And they were going to, and then they had a really unfortunate injury that, just sucked for them and kind of ruined their chances. On my end of it,
Is that the Miranda one?
Yeah, yeah. Miranda did her ACL on a, I think on a jerk, or I mean, I'm sure it could have happened some earlier point, but I think if I
Yeah.
remember, I was on a clean jerk that it went. Yeah, my team was kind of not thrown together, but we had kind of tentatively thought about doing a team, but hadn't really committed to it early on. And then, kind of decided late that we'd do it, and definitely had a super weak spot that, we're just like, hey, let's go make the best of it. I thought we had no business taking third that year and being on the podium. But we had some pretty solid people. I mean, we didn't have a bad team. And I just think it was a weird year. Like, it was like a team would be sitting pretty good on the leaderboard and they would just crap the bed. And then the next team would be sitting good and they would crap the bed. It was almost like everyone was trying as hard as they could to not take first. And I know Rich's Mayhem team, they had some low points as well. But just kind of had a really gutsy performance on the last day. Big surprise there. And we're able to kind of eke that one out. But, and I would say like they had no business being on the podium that year. If you just kind of break down the 6 individuals and their numbers, they definitely would not have been a favorite. But, they deserved it in the end. They pulled it out. But what happened after that was crazy.
Yeah, it truly was a transitional year for them because, people think that Rich always had a super team. That first team was not.
That was homegrown, 100%.
Yeah. And they had to come back late to get that win. And really, you're right. NorCal was crushing it until that injury. But I like that you had the confidence and you guys made it fun. Jason was always smack talking Rich, and Rich was smack talking you, and it was all good and good fun, but it just made it a fun year at that point.
Yeah, that was the funnest part of it was trying to shine a spotlight onto the team thing, and I think it is, when done right, I think they've really tweaked a lot of things with it. The difficult thing about the team is like you put 10 teams out there for a chipper, it's just a circus. You got like 40 athletes and 80 judges. And no one knows what the hell is going on. Looks like the Ohio State marching band out there doing, except that it never quite gets into the right formation. But I think they found better ways to present the team competition, which is great. From an athlete's perspective, it's always fun. It's a great test of fitness, and it's also a great test of kind of unity and camaraderie. It's really hard not to just snap at somebody and start chewing them out when you're halfway through a workout and they're just falling apart. And it's also really hard not to fall apart yourself when you're halfway through a workout and your whole team, it's like, God damn, these guys all look fresh. And I'm just, a slug over here and I just can't do it. It's hard not to just go into a really dark mental space right there and kind of shut down. So it's a totally different test, than the individual. But it's really fun. There's I've been a part of a lot of different teams and different sports, and it's no different, which is nice, because there's a lot of sports that are individual based, like track and field. It's you win a team championship, but everyone's just out there running their own race. I like that in CrossFit they've incorporated a lot of actual teamwork and where you really have to rely on the person next to you. I think that's made it unique.
Did you ever compete on the 4-person team?
No, I didn't hang around that long.
Do you think, how different would that have been for you as a 4-person as opposed to a 6?
I think for me personally, it wouldn't have made any difference. I think it would be fun. For looking back on our years, I think it would have hurt us because we really, our whole mantra was, we're all even. Like that was, all 6 of us could do everything. Like that was the deal. And that's what I saw as the big opportunity in the team competition was if you can truly be six deep, you're going to run away with it. Because it seemed like every year there was a team, that was look really good, and then they'd find that weakness. There'd be some event that would expose one of the athletes in some way. So I think it worked to our advantage having the 6 team. I like the 4-person teams visually. I've always loved the CrossFit Invitational when they were doing that, and kind of Team USA and Team Australia and Team Europe. So I think that's a little bit easier, a little bit more palatable to watch. There's just less going on. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind if they went back to 6 at some point. I don't think they will, just because I think the 4 is a little easier to manage.
Yeah. As being a former judge, it gets pretty hairy out there trying to avoid everything when you're out there with 6. But I want to talk about one other thing in your past, and we'll talk about what's going on today with you and maybe the future. And that is Broken Skull Ranch.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
Yeah. So I'm a big lover of Stone Cold. Think he's awesome. That was when I was really into wrestling with him and The Rock and Kurt Angle and all of those guys.
Yep.
So what was it like hanging out with Stone Cold out on the ranch?
It was surreal. Literally, I'm sure just like probably both of you, like I watched Monday Night Raw through high school. My brother and I used to watch wrestling. I remember early childhood watching Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant go at it, and Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior is my favorite. So I got a taste of that at a very young age. But I
liked you. Ultimate Warrior was my guy.
Yes. Oh, he was so intense. Such a freak.
Just don't watch the documentary.
No. No, he was a lot of things, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was something else. Probably wouldn't pass a lot of CrossFit PED tests, but
no.
Great entertainer. Stone Cold and them, that was, late 90s is when I was in high school. So that was the heyday. I think the peak of wrestling, to date. So huge fan of his. He's just a, good old Texas boy. When you meet him, he's super nice. He was very appreciative, which was really refreshing because, on that show, everybody just basically gets a plane ticket out there and that's it. You're not coming out of pocket, but you're not making a dime. And, you're kind of putting a lot at stake. And some people are out there for a week or two because of, just the shooting schedule and whatnot. There's a lot of weird stuff, reality TV stuff that goes on that you have no clue what you're getting into. So like that was all interesting, but Steve was like, made everyone feel special, really made you feel appreciated for being a part of it. He made it a point to go thank everybody for coming on before they got stuffed in the van and driven back to the hotel room and locked in there. So he was just a great guy. I think he's just a really good, humble, genuine person. And, he's also like a mega celebrity. So I'm sure everywhere he goes, he just, people ask him for his autograph, everything like that. But it was pretty awesome. It was somebody that I respected and idolized as just as an entertainer and just really thought was a cool cat. He absolutely lived up to, all the expectations. And as much of a jerk and an asshole, he was really like a man of the people on the show. Right. But he had to play that like kind of jerk persona, like screw you, middle fingers up in the air. He was equally, a nice guy in real life, which was a cool contrast. So I would expect The Rock to be a total asshole in person based on, how cool he was on TV.
Yeah.
But he's probably a good guy too.
So how was that when you first saw like the Skull Buster and what was your thoughts in terms of like, I do CrossFit, I can probably get through all this?
Yeah, I was pumped. And I was on the first season, the last episode of it. So I really had no clue. All I ever could get was like this short little teaser trailer, like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So when I applied for it, the only reason I even opened the email, because a gym owner, you get a lot of spam emails. The only reason I opened the email is it said Steve Austin. So I was like, oh, piqued my interest immediately. But I saw this teaser. I was like, well, it kind of looks like, tough guy shit that I might be good at. I'm a football player. Like it kind of showed guys wrestling in a pit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I might be good at that. I'll look into it. And then it's like, oh, you can win $10,000. Like that's cool. But I still knew nothing about it. So when they went to casting and everything, I was trying to work out dates, and this was right in the middle of the Open in 2014. So I didn't even know if I'd be able to get out there. I told him, I was like, I can't be gone for like a full 7 days. Like I have to be free on like a Friday or a Saturday so I can do this workout, and then I can be out there like the whole next week. So I think they had a tough time I don't even know how bad they wanted me or whatever, but it just so worked out. I was able to get on that last episode. And then it was really cool because I honestly didn't know what to expect, didn't know what the events would be, didn't know how intense it would be. And then when they showed the Skull Buster, like I didn't even know there was an obstacle course or anything. So to answer your question, Charlie, it was like I was like, oh, like, sign me up,
Yeah.
like this is right up my alley. I thought I was gonna, have to face like someone they've been keeping in the back pocket. Like I thought they're gonna bring out this gigantic wrestler or something like that to just come out and kick my ass and throw me around. So they're like, oh, you gotta take on this obstacle course. I'm like, all I have to do is run and like do some monkey bars. This is freaking perfect. So yeah, that ended up being a really pleasant surprise. And if there weren't all these goddamn Spartan race people signing up for this show, I probably would have stayed a little longer. But finally they got the better. Actually, a CrossFitter is the one who beat me initially, so can't blame it all on the OCR guys. This guy Ian was able to kind of dethrone me, and he ended up being a good guy too. So didn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
And you ended up winning 7 times.
Yeah, 70 grand. That's how I knew my oldest kid was good at math. He's like, wait, Dad, how much money do you win? I said, 10,000. He said, you won 7 times? I said, yeah. He's like, oh, so you won $70,000? I'm like, hey, yeah.
It's like, I've been looking at this bike.
Yeah, exactly. He's over there doing the math in his head. He's like, so when are we going to Disneyland?
Right.
Yeah. Did he minus out the 40% for taxes and?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much all that money has worked its way back to him. It's in some way, shape, or form. So he made out pretty good.
So this is kind of a weird question. We had Matt Chan on a little while ago, and he was the winner of the Titan Games with
Right.
The Rock, right? You and Matt head to head at Broken Skull Ranch. Do you think you can beat Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Matt and you on the Titan Games.
Today, no. Matt's in a lot better shape than me right now.
In
In both of
2014?
our prime, yes, I could, because I think I got the wrestling on him. I wasn't much of a wrestler, but I know he wasn't either, and I think playing linebacker really gave me a good advantage. I know how to get my underhooks in there and get under somebody. I know about leverage.
And then the Titan Games, if you had to go Titan Games against Matt, have you seen that obstacle course and the events?
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty good battle. He might have the edge. I don't know off the top of my head, but I think in CrossFit competitions we were pretty evenly matched. I think he may have gotten the better of me more often than I did of him. I'm not 100% sure, but it'd be a dogfight.
I think we need to give you 6 months of training and make a pay-per-view, just like Josh Bridges and
Hebner.
Yeah.
Oh man, me and Matt are in our 40s, man. No one wants to see that.
Us old guys do.
Hey, we're still paying to see Mike Tyson in his 50s.
No kidding. That's killer Mike though. maybe if I could make like $500, I'd do it.
Yeah. I think you could take him with 6 months of training.
I think what we should do is a tag team match, me and Stone Cold versus Matt and The Rock. What do you think about that?
I like
There
that.
you go.
I would
Now
pay- I
you're
would pay to see
talking a lot
that.
more than $500.
Yeah. Yeah. What's The Rock's company called? Like $7 Productions or
$7,
something like that?
yeah.
Yeah. I like his story, but he plays that up a little bit. I don't think he ever was just walking around with $7 in his pocket like a broke, It's like, dude, your dad is a pro wrestler. You have family, cousins that play in the NFL. Like he's playing that up a little bit, but it's a good story.
Yeah.
He did hit some low points in his life, I'm sure, and he made the best of it.
Yeah.
I'm never getting cast on his show now.
Just check that one off.
Yeah.
So you just need to chug a bottle of his tequila and it'll all the problems will go away.
Then we'll be friends again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have had the Broken Skull Ranch IPA. One of the best beers I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it's not bad, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, Steve knows what he's doing.
All right,
I'll vote for The Rock for president. How about that? If he runs,
There you go.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about Underdogs, right? We're an affiliate owner in Utah for what, 10 years?
Yeah, almost 12.
12. And then you decided to join the Underdogs team and move to Las Vegas. What kind of prompted that decision, and how's it been so far?
It's been great. I love working with Justin and company. He's building just a phenomenal team. He and his wife Ashley are great people. A lot of the success he's had, like I've been a fan of his ever since Grid League. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but he put together some great squads. I think he's very cerebral. I think he's very smart, and also as a coach, he just has a great demeanor. Very, very calm, cool, and collected. He doesn't get rattled, but he's also very passionate, and he really cares about his athletes. And those are things that all attributes that I just really respect in a coach. First and foremost, just the caring. My old linebacker coach used to call it the gas factor, the give a shit factor. But he was big on that, and you can't fake that kind of stuff. So Underdogs crew is great. I actually was out here, like that's not why I moved to Vegas, but it's been very fortuitous. My wife and I came down here in 2017, more for some gym marketing stuff. This New You Challenge marketing company that I was a part of for a few years, and that was just growing like crazy, and it was kind of headquartered here because the founder James just happened to live here. So we came down, visited, checked it out, just loved it down here. I mean, we just really fell in love with Henderson and with Las Vegas and wanted to make it home. So we made that move, and then I've been kind of on the fence whether I wanted to own a gym anywhere. The one in Utah, I basically, when I moved, I transitioned to the managers, and we'd just been working out a buyout essentially to where they could be sole owners, which we finalized that. It was really a process of 3 years, but we finalized it in the last 6 months. And that's just been an amazing deal because they've completely not just held the community together, but grown the community there in Salt Lake City, and they're crushing it right now. Brand new facility about a year ago. We moved into it maybe a year and a half ago. And it's, signed a 10-year lease. So they got a nice permanent home there. But yeah, in Vegas, I really wasn't sure. I missed coaching, and I wasn't coaching a whole lot. I'd say for like about a year and a half, I'd basically, anytime I was up in Utah, I'd coach. I just, whatever trainer was on in the morning, I'd be like, hey, take the morning off. I got it. And it just always made me really happy, for the whole day. I was like, yeah, I should be doing this more. So kind of stepping back from coaching day in and day out really made me realize how much I liked it. So anyway, Justin moved down here, connected with him because I'd known him for quite a few years, and, just kind of shooting the breeze. I think both of us were kind of like, yeah, we'd like to own a gym, but we don't want to do it by ourselves because we know how hard that is. And then it's like, hey, if we get both our families on board, this could be really something cool because we know how to do it. He's ran a really successful gym in New York. And then it expanded from there of like, hey, why don't had a couple conversations with Zach Forrest because he's been in this area for a long time and he's owned an affiliate here that was pretty well known. And it's like, what's Zach up to? How come he's not still running a gym? So yeah, the team kind of expanded, and really I think we all see an opportunity to offer something that just doesn't exist right now in this area, which is kind of a really marquee, big, beautiful CrossFit gym. We want to have just, incredible staff, but really we want to have kind of two things going. One is we want to have a great local community, because that's something that I've missed. Justin misses, from New York, and Zach, he created a really good, strong local community here. So we absolutely want that to be like the foundation of this gym. But we also just see a huge opportunity to bring some of the best experts and presenters and host seminars and, entertain drop-ins. And, Vegas isn't going anywhere. It definitely, pandemic slowed down travel and everything, but Vegas is always going to be Vegas. Everyone's going to make their way out here at some point. And you guys know how CrossFitters are. When you travel, you want to get your workouts in and kind of find, we want to be that home away from home. So when people are traveling here, they can have a good experience and kind of feel like their family.
Well, and I think what Justin's created with Underdogs, not the gym, but the actual program, is a place where a destination. And so when I was there for West Coast Classic, we went to Culmination, and it's not that big. Like and they are not prepared for it to be a destination gym. Like, couldn't get a t-shirt, couldn't get, because
it's a great local gym, but it doesn't, the space is tough. Like and real estate's a nightmare. So that was the hardest part so far.
Yeah,
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, well, like, as a CrossFitter, if you didn't get the t-shirt, did you really drop in?
No, no, you didn't. You're not even a CrossFitter.
Right. So, I've talked to Justin, and I know you guys are on the verge, hopefully, of opening a facility just after the first of the year. How excited are you about that?
I'm pumped. We've been looking for a place since really like about a year and a half, but seriously looking since February. So it's been a long time of probably looked at 50 different spots, just going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole. And finally, I think we found something that's going to work. It's brand new construction. So they're just finishing up the building. That's why we can't really put a date on it. But we've got a signed lease, and we're, laying all the groundwork, and it'd be great if we're open in January. I think we might be able to pull it off, but who knows? I just keep hearing rumors of supply chain woes, and I'm not sure how much that's going to affect our contractors and all that. But basically we're like, hey, we have kind of like, just get us in there so we can start. And we're not going to half-ass it, but like, if we need to open a little early and just start small and build out half the gym, and then spend a few more months to finish it, we'll just do whatever. But we're trying to get open as quick as we can.
Awesome. So what is your role with Underdogs right now? Not the gym itself, but the program and the coaching.
I am working with 12 athletes right now, just remote coaching. I'm hoping to take on a little bigger role, but we're kind of, pieces are still falling into place. But I would love to start helping a team get ready for the, make a run for the affiliate cup. Don't have any big announcements on that yet, but there's definitely some talks happening. But yeah, just really one-on-one program for people right now. I'm really enjoying that. It's something I've, in the past, I think I programmed for 2 or 3 people, program, one girl I just exclusively worked with her for a year. And that was fun, made a lot of progress, but I had to stop doing that just because I had a lot going on in my life. And she went on to do amazingly well. And so I kind of think back on that. I'm like, yeah, I really did enjoy that. It just was a bad time in my life. So I talked to Justin, a few months ago, actually in June, and about doing some one-on-one programming while we're kind of getting this gym ready. And I've actually really enjoyed it. The 12 athletes I'm working with are all amazing. It just blows my mind, like how dedicated they all are. And it's extremely fun to see them hitting PRs and then just walking them through the peaks and valleys. There's not every day is PR day, and little tweaks happen, and cars break down, and people miss workouts and all that good stuff. So just trying to do the best I can to kind of guide them through that whole process, and keep them excited and motivated, and just not get too down, because it's so easy to just catastrophize things when you have a little setback. So yeah, it's kind of fun being in the coach's chair, because I know what it's like to be an athlete. I know what it's like to think that the world's going to end, because you had a bad week. Yeah. And then I'm sitting here just, I'm like, cool. Why don't we look back at what you're doing in August, and, you've added 30 pounds to your squat. Like, can we just focus on that for a second? Because it's easy to lose sight of that stuff.
So we talked to,
oh, go ahead.
We had talked to Matt last week, and we got you, Con, everything. Are you allowed to be under 6 foot and be an underdog athlete, or is it just all Clydesdale 6 foot guys?
I don't know. Yeah, Tola. I don't know if Tola. He might be 6 foot. He's definitely a big guy. He's not a little guy. He could throw me around. Yeah, I think we might start having a requirement under big guys only.
Targeting 6 foot and overs.
Yeah. If you truly want to be considered an underdog, you got to be a Clydesdale in CrossFit.
There you go. Perfect marriage, Clydesdales and underdogs.
Yeah.
So
one the same.
When you're doing one-on-one coaching, do you do the programming for them, or do you use the underdogs programming with that?
Good question. That's one question I think every one of my athletes has asked me. So I'll tell you the same thing I tell them. First of all, I use underdogs because I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. I think Justin knows what the hell he's doing. I'd be doing them a disservice if I wasn't following it. And the caveat to that is I, for some reason, just don't like writing out like a week of workouts. It's something that I could do in maybe 10 minutes, or it might take me 10 hours. And it just depends on where my mind's at, because I start going down these rabbit holes and just overanalyzing everything. So I do really well when I have kind of a base program that I can work from and then adapt it. So I actually have a few people doing something very different than the Underdogs template. They're doing like a really kind of an extreme strength bias, and they're doing a lot more powerlifting type stuff. They're doing a lot of band work and chain work. But unless somebody has like a huge strength bias right now, it's very, very much following the template. And then I try and focus most of my energy just on breaking down their technique and their movements and figuring out where those weaknesses are. So I'm getting better at, kind of looking at someone's gymnastics and seeing where they might be struggling and what kind of accessory movements might help them, and sending them, specific drills. That's something that I got the most benefit from probably in my past as an athlete. I actually sought out a gymnastics coach in Dusty Highland, and just went down to California a few times and stayed there for a few days and worked with him. So, just having and learning those drills and just working, kind of breaking down pieces of movements. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, the landscapers are going to town.
Yeah, I didn't know there was that much grass in Vegas.
Dude, it's a leaf blowers. They're just constant out here. God forbid there be a speck of, leaves on the ground or whatever. They keep it nice out here. So most of what I do is breaking down the gymnastics and the lifting and really trying to help people improve in those areas. Cause when it comes down to it in CrossFit, it's really just technique and engines. The rest of the stuff is all kind of just filler.
Yeah.
I've had that master's template in my cart. So what I'm hearing is that I should just go ahead and purchase that.
Yes. You'd be doing it yourself a disservice if you didn't. But there's, depending on your situation and where you work out and everything else, there's always, benefit to group classes. So yeah. I've always told people, don't think that, doing your own programming off to the side, unless you have a really specific goal or some specific needs, you keep hurting yourself doing the same stupid shit and you need a little bit of guidance. That's a great reason to work with a coach. But I think a lot of people get excited about following some different program because it's kind of new and sexy. And then they're like, oh, I really miss group classes. I'm like, go do the group classes, maybe do a little bit of both. But yeah, don't ever lose the thing about CrossFit that made you fall in love with it.
Mm.
Well, I know Tommy's battery is just about to die, but I'm going to try to squeeze one question in. And that is, I saw that you had a big birthday.
That's right.
The big 4-0.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about getting back on the competition floor as a masters athlete?
If I was going to do that, I think 12 months ago would have been the time to flip that switch. I try and get after it and I just don't have the desire. I'm starting to like training again. I never hated it, but I'm starting to, feel better. I've had a big goal of running a sub 5-minute mile for years. And I was working my ass off for probably all 2017, 18, off and on. I kept having lower leg injuries. So I'm almost over that. Not that I've accomplished it. I've almost got out of my system and given up. So if I can give that up, I might get back into working out a little more. But lately I just kind of like picking one thing and working hard at it. I don't know if that's just like a cop out. But competing in CrossFit, I'm not there yet. Maybe at 45. But right now, I'm just trying to keep it fun.
So the only motivation you have is Matt Chan and the Skull Buster.
Yeah, if Matt Chan wants to do the Skull Buster or get Dwayne and Steve Austin on the phone and set something up, then let's do it.
All right. Well, with that, Tommy, we're going to let you go. I know you have probably 1% battery now, but it was awesome having you on. And man, that was a lot of fun. Love the stories.
Thank you guys.
We'll have to have you back when you have more battery.
Yeah, I'll get back there anytime. And anytime you want me to sign one of those shirts for you, just let me know. I don't have my own shirt, but I'll sign one of theirs.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Charlie.
See ya.